please be seated? I now call on Dr. Annie Lennox, Chancellor of Glasgow Caledonian University, to open today's proceedings.
Vice-Chancellor, Vice-Chair of Court, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Vice-Principals and Pro-Vice-Chancellors, Members of Court and Senate, distinguished guests, colleagues, friends and graduands. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to Glasgow Caledonian University's graduation ceremony of 2022. This is going to be a wonderful moment of celebration for everyone gathered here today. We are all absolutely delighted to be back in person at this iconic venue, especially taking into consideration the additional challenges everyone has undergone throughout the last few years. I'd like to take this opportunity to offer tremendous appreciation and gratitude for every member of GCU staff who went well beyond the call of duty to ensure their students' needs were all met, in spite of the circumstances and difficulties placed before them. And a most special appreciation for every one of the GCU students who have put in so much extra effort and work, particularly taking into account that they couldn't be in the classroom or on campus with fellow colleagues. Now, it's evident that we are living in unprecedented times in a myriad of ways. So many complex issues have risen to the fore over the last few years. So I feel it would be unrealistic not to acknowledge that right now, the world can often seem overwhelming and unmanageable as we seem to lurch from one crisis to another. At this point in time, we might be tempted to nostalgically look back at the good old days. But I can vouch for the fact that in many ways, overall, most of us are living lives that our grandparents and great-grandparents could never even have dreamed of. 1 or 2 generations ago, life was most often only good for a small minority of privileged few. We tend to forget that we've all had the benefit of transformative change. Access to education, healthcare, civil rights, and what was broadly termed in the 1960s as modernity. Looking back at my own experience of growing up in the northeast of Scotland in the 1950s and 60s, I can easily recall the moment when modernity arrived in my own life. And it came in the form of a Tupperware box with a red resealable plastic lid, which was rumoured to keep food fresh for days before most people from working class backgrounds even dreamed of having the luxury of fridges. The miracle of plastic. Only a few decades later, and our oceans and rivers are choked and blighted by it. As much as the invention of plastic was a remarkable innovation, it has also become a ubiquitous scourge upon the planet. The connection between commerce, easy convenience, and ecological destruction could have and should have been addressed long ago, when we should have implemented viable legislative alternatives. But more often than not, unfortunately, it takes something catastrophic to affect us directly and personally until we begin to pay attention. Otherwise, most people tend to detach and ignore the issues of man-made climate emergency, global warming, and the vast scale of industrial waste and pollution. So personally, I cannot even begin to tell you how angry and frustrated I feel by the empty gestures, promises and words used by politicians and business leaders who let us down time and time again by failing to adhere to their climate pledges. However, on a more positive note, there are solutions just waiting to be implemented. And I believe each one of you is holding a little seed that where we could see the growth and the development through each one of you, really. And Professor Gillis has been particularly aware of these solutions all along. Consider that GCU was the very first university to utilize the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals to help shape its research strategy. And GCU was also the first Scottish university to sign the UN Global Compact, aligning companies' operations with the universal principle of human rights. I feel incredibly proud of all the young people who are dedicating themselves to eco-activism and advocacy. The world needs all of you more than ever before. You are the future, right here and now. Your potential and power of influence can be boundless and unlimited. Can I encourage each and every one of you to please continue to be bold and fearless, to bring your best qualities forwards and contribute to creating transformative change to influence this world for the common good wherever you go from here. As the great Nelson Mandela said, the future is in your hands. So now it gives me tremendous pleasure to officially commence today's graduation ceremony. Thank you, everybody.
Professor Anita Simmers, Dean of the School of Health and Life Sciences, will present Bernardine Evaristo for the award of Honorary Doctor of Letters.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, today we have great pleasure in honouring Professor Bernadine Evaristo OBE in recognition of her outstanding contribution to literature and human rights. Wow. Award-winning poet, novelist, playwright, activist, literary historian, and champion of unheard and unsung voices. Bernadine has written novels, verse novels, drama, and hybrid fictions that challenge the idea of what stories are and who is telling those stories. She mixes humour with the most difficult of subjects, slavery, prejudice, trauma, happily combining eras and languages that connect and explore the borders of genre, race, gender, culture, history, and sexuality. Bernadine Evaristo was born in Eltham, southeast London, and raised in Woolwich. She is the fourth of 8 children, born to an English mother and a Nigerian father. Growing up in the 60s in a middle-class white neighbourhood, the bricks hurled through her parents' windows were frequent reminders of their difference as an interracial family. As the fourth child, it's been said Bernadine rarely got a chance to watch what she wanted on telly or to get a turn on the one bike they shared between 8. So from the age of 5, Bernadine would frequently go to the library and get out as many books as she could. By 12, she had discovered youth theatre. Bernadine has received many honours, awards, nominations, and prestigious selections for her books. In 2019, she won the Booker Prize for her novel, Girl, Woman, Other, becoming the first Black woman to do so. The novel has sold more than 1 million copies in English, with deals in 35 territories and 29 languages. Not many can claim to be one of Barack Obama's favourite and recommended authors. Bernadine has also been a long-standing advocate for the inclusion of writers and artists of colour. She has founded several successful schemes to ensure increased representation in the creative industries, including in the 80s, Britain's first black women's theatre company, Theatre of Black Women. If there weren't any parts available for her and her friends, they would make their own. Since her Booker win, Bernadine has been named President of the UK's Royal Society of Literature, becoming the first person of colour to hold the position in the organisation's 200-year history. She is also, to note, the first who did not attend at least one of Cambridge, Oxford or Eton. These days, Bernardine Evaristo is a modernising force at the top of the British literary establishment. But it took years to carve out the life she wanted. Her journey was a long one, but she made it, and she made history. In her latest book, Manifesto on Never Giving Up, Bernadine charts this journey, recounting her childhood, education, romantic relationships, friendships, art, and activism. A particularly poignant statement in the book at a time in society when many we know are feeling a sense of isolation and social disconnection was the following. Personal success is most meaningful when used to uplift communities otherwise left behind. We are all interconnected and must look after each other. As the #1 university in the UK and 4th in the world for promoting gender equality, we are committed to providing a culture and environment inclusive of all sections of society and individuals. Bernadine's work reminds us a wider range of voices, cultures, perspectives can only enrich what already exists and will contribute to a more inclusive education system and a more egalitarian society. In Bernadine's spirit, we should uplift others, link hands and ascend together. Chancellor, I have the greatest of pleasure in inviting you to confer upon Professor Bernardine Evaristo OBE the award of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa.
With the power vested in me by the Senate of Glasgow Caledonian University, I now have the pleasure in conferring upon you, Bernadine Evaristo, a Doctor of Letters, honoris causa. Congratulations.
So, hello everybody. It's really great to be here. I came up from London today, and this was a wonderful citation from Anita. Thank you so much. And I would like to thank the university for giving me this honour. I do see it as a really serious honour from a wonderful university, and I'm absolutely delighted to accept it. I was wondering what I was going to talk about today, and you heard a bit about me just now with the citation, and I thought I'd talk about self-belief because, you know, all the students here are about to graduate and go out into the world. Maybe some of you are mature students and you've already been out in the world, but, you know, you're now graduates of this university and you are going to be pursuing your careers, whatever they may be. And I've had a really interesting life. I've been in the arts from the age of 12, from when I was at the Youth Theatre, and I've been working professionally in the arts for 40 years. And when I won the Booker Prize in 2019, which is the biggest prize for the novel in the world, it caused me to reflect back on how I had reached this point in my career. And I wrote my book Manifesto so that people would understand where I came from and to see the journey over 4 decades that it took me to reach this point where suddenly I broke through onto the world stage in a way that I'd wanted for a very long time, but I hadn't. And when I thought back to what motivated me, not really what motivated me, but what kept me going over all those years, I think one of the things was self-belief. And I'm a huge advocate of self-belief. And I think when I was young and graduating from drama school that I went to, I had a little bit of self-belief, but I didn't have a lot of it because I wasn't like certain people who run this country. Somebody's going to, remain nameless, who at the age of 4 or 3 said he was going to be world king. Somebody who is born into a certain kind of background, who believes that anything is possible for them because they're going through an elite education system and they come from an elite background in terms of class and privilege. And of course, yes, one day they could be Prime Minister, for example. For most of us, that's not the reality. But for me, breaking through to get the Booker was a huge thing. As you heard, I was the first black woman and black British person to win it in its history, its 50-year history. It was a huge thing. How did that happen? That happened because in my 30s, not even in my 20s, in my 30s, I started to consciously develop my own belief in myself, my self-confidence. And some people might be thinking, maybe many of you will be thinking, well, I'm not confident, and that's it, I'm never going to be confident. I'm just that kind of person. I don't really believe in myself. Some of you may be the opposite, I don't know. But often when I'm teaching younger people, I come across a lack of self-belief. So what I want to say to you is that it's possible to develop your self-belief over the course of your lifetime. And one of the ways that you can do that is to access all the resources that are out there for you, especially with your generation on the internet. Especially, in fact, a lot of it comes from America, the motivational speakers who will imbue you with a sense of the great possibility of your lives, whatever that might be. I do something called creative visualizations, which is now called manifestations. I also write affirmations. I have these techniques that I've been using for now nearly 30 years to give me the confidence to stand before you here today and to say what I'm saying and to have the career that I've had. So confidence is something that you all have to a certain degree, but it's something that you can grow and develop over the course of your lifetime. The other thing about self-belief is what are you believing in? Well, you're believing in the possibility of who you are in the world and what you can be in the world. So some of you will be very ambitious. Some people will think, I'm not very ambitious. And then you need to look, why aren't you ambitious? Some people will be very ambitious for themselves. Some people will be very ambitious for their field of interest or for their community. Some people will be ambitious for themselves and for the community, which I think is a great way to be. And it's really important to focus on what you want to do, even though that might change. So my advice is to have a goal. So I'm sure for all of you, when you entered this university, the goal was to graduate, and some of you will be thinking beyond that. But it's to have a goal of what you want to do at this stage in your life, what your goal is, and to work towards it, but to accept that that goal might change. But if you don't have a goal or have a series of goals throughout your life, it's very easy to be swayed. It's very easy to give up. And people give up because they face obstacles. And the obstacles might be inside you because you don't feel confident enough or you don't think you're good enough. And what I'm saying is you can develop that. Or the obstacles might be outside you, from society or from your community or from your family or whatever. The thing is to learn the techniques to get through that so that you are not swayed from your goals, but understanding that those goals might change. So I think this is what I would have wanted to hear when I graduated from Rose Bruford College, where I studied drama for 3 years in 1982. I wanted somebody to tell me that where I am today is not where I'm going to stay, that there are resources out there that can develop me into the person I can become, and in a very positive way. Somebody who has ambition, somebody who has self-confidence and self-belief, somebody who wants to achieve in this society for themselves, hopefully for their communities as well. And that it's possible. And that this is a new starting point for you in your lives. And then the next stage is to, if you haven't already, to have the goals, even a vision, even better, and then to use those resources to set you up for the rest of your life to be somebody who is achieving whatever it is that you set your minds to achieve. So that's it from me. Thank you very much.
Professor Cal Shaskey, Dean of the School of Computing, Engineering, Built Environment, will present the graduands.
Chancellor, I present these graduands to receive the following awards: Doctor of Philosophy, and Thomas Phillip. Master of Science, Ailey Georgina Johnson. Joanne Keane. Kay McIntosh. Samantha Medlam. Craig Miller. Connor Murray. Laura Alice Slinger. Neetu Chowdhury. Connor Thomas Johnson. Sadia Mazar. Adam James McLean. Ali Rizwan. Oliver Hendrik Winselberg. Mudadir Wakil. Bachelor of Science with Honours, Liam Kearney. Gordon Callender. Marguerite McCurran. Alex McCulloch. Rory Chain. Ross Curran. Connor Sheikh Finley. Alexandra Evgenieva Chincheva. Andrea Andreeva Georgieva. Ewan Cameron Mackay. Jonathan Renton. Rachel Helena Ewell. Alexandra Mary Ashley. Savio Diaz. Cassie Duncan. Sean Patrick Keegan. Nadine Hazel Parkon. Stuart Peters. Ioannis Diomosinis Artialis. Ryan Lavery. Gordon McConnell. Kiva Mora McEntee. Joanna Alina Otto. Anne Kristin Roll. Holly Strain. Rye Taylor. Jack Anderson. Andrew Black. Ewan James Brown. Jack Deeney. Matthew Calvin Hansen. Adam Hood. Folan Kelly Smith. Kyle McSwan. Christopher Russell Stevenson. Spiridon Strombis. Ricardo Testa. William Tremblay. Stephen Ross Cardner. Paul Dunkel. Mark Thomas Swanson Flanagan. Paul Higgins. Aaron Jeffers. Ivan Konstantinov. Alan David McAnally. Liam McAteer. Alessio Shishi. Chin Loon Mark Wong. Hamid Abdul Karim. Matthew Blacker. Scott Blair. Craig Thomas William Burke. Joshua Campbell. Daniel Francis Cunningham. James Alexander Doak. Adam Don. Sam Gallagher. Matthew Garriott. Matthew George Johnson. Zubair Khalid. Ray Coker. Sven Christensen. Ian Lang. Patrick Lardner. Carolina Liletto. Anthony Lockhart. Andrew Graham McQuillan. Cal Murray. Blair Nimmo. Erin Christina O'Connor. Ewan Roland Penman. Harris Rahim Jamal. Beth Rocks. Liam Rutherford. James Shields. Ivan Todorov. Jack Sum William Tong. Federico Vivaldo. Jack Weir. Ewan White. Archie Yar. Daud Amin. Alistair Beck. Connor Owen Blaine. Martin Boer. Samuel Finley. Sean Finley. David Hamilton. Owen Harris. Alice Nicholas Hawkes. Lyle Irvin. Fortune Lovedale. Kia Campbell Macaulay. Nisha McRae. Ross Mates. Hannah Louise McCartney. John McEwen. Leo McFarlane. Matthew McKechnie. Chloe McNee. Hamish Meal. Declan Anthony Mina. Curtis Stewart Derek Monaghan. Kamalala Cannon Naren Tiran. Lewis O'Donnell. Stephen Pender. Kasper Piotrowski. Cameron Ryan Price. Alexander Prince. Kevin Pryor. Thanea Saktival. Alexander Stilianov. Daniel Alexander York. Noelia Romina Alfonsin Rosales. Boris Blaho. Nicole Ann Blair. Ovidius Brigis. Hannah Dugan. Chloe Doyle. Andrew Fraser. Matthias Freitas. Joanne Miller Gibson. Sarah Houston. Zach Lauriston. Grant McMillan. Millie McCulley. John Ralston. Connor Reed. Nimrata Ahira. Ashkan Iranipur. Rachel Pearson. Scott Young. Stanislava Zakova. Amy Cumming. Emily Perry Nicole Knight Rowley. Reza Marathi. Ewan Miller. Lauren Rowan. Bachelor of Engineering, Scott Joseph McManus. Bachelor of Science, Ruben Fernandez. Daniel Adam Kowalski. Lucy Nash. Joseph Murphy. Carl Frederick Bengston. Amar Mahmood. Chancellor, the next award is being made posthumously and is being accepted by Brooke Moyes on behalf of their brother, Craig Moyes. Gilbert Ronald Reid. Kieran Ronald Campbell. Jack Crane. Christopher Mullen. Certificate of Higher Education, Galacia Evangelidou.
Professor James Miller, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, will present Daniel Schwartz for the award of Honorary Doctor of Business Administration.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes in life we come across very extraordinary people who, when you read their list of achievements, recognitions and awards, you are simply left marvelling at how they manage to fit everything in during their short lifetime. When you examine their impact more closely, and you see that all of their achievements are not for their own advancement, but for that of others and those less fortunate, then you realise that what they have achieved becomes all the more remarkable. Daniel Schwartz is one such individual, and we are delighted to be honouring him as our honorary graduate. We are also so pleased to welcome his husband, Chongar Kyor, who also joins us from their home in New York. As the CEO of Dynamica Incorporated, Daniel is one of America's most influential philanthropists, and he has led the non-profit, philanthropic and corporate sectors for more than 20 years, specialising in donor collaborations, multi-stakeholder engagements and public-private partnerships. A Harvard graduate, he was named among Crane's New York Business 40 Under 40 Emerging Business Leaders as one of the 100 global leaders for tomorrow by the World Economic Forum in Davos, and one of the world's 25 most influential philanthropists by Black Ink, the American Express Centurion Cardholders magazine. By anyone's standards, that is an impressive list of accolades, which recognises his outstanding work across the world. Difficult though it was, I have pulled out a few of his most notable positions he has held throughout his career. Daniel served as an executive director of the Elie Wiesel Foundation for Humanity, where he was responsible for the Conference of Nobel Laureates. The mission of the foundation is to combat indifference, intolerance and injustice through international dialogues and youth-focused programs that promote acceptance, understanding and equality. He's been an active member of the Clinton Global Initiative, the Council on Foreign Relations and the Synergos Global Philanthropist Circle, a non-profit organisation that addresses global poverty and social injustice. As a speaker and author in the fields of effective global philanthropy and entrepreneurship, Daniel has led discussion panels and workshops for organisations including UBS Philanthropy Forum, the World Economic Forum, the Global Philanthropy Forum, McKinsey & Co., Yale, the Baden-Wieler Symposium, and the Rockefeller Foundation Bellagio. Vice-Chancellor, in line with your own background and a particular strength of our university, Daniel has been a lifelong advocate of global public health initiatives and served as the board chair of the Gavi campaign, the world's largest funder of childhood vaccines. A further particular connection with our university is through our Emeritus Chancellor, Professor Mohammed Yunus, and his daughter Monica, where Daniel served on the board of Sing for Hope, a non-profit organisation that harnesses the power of the arts to create a better world by connecting with people in hospitals, care facilities, schools, refugee camps, transit hubs, and community spaces worldwide. It is almost impossible to begin to imagine the number of lives Daniel has touched and improved through his work, through his personal volunteering, and through the ripple effects of those whom he has inspired to emulate his approach. One might even say his approach for the common good, which is why it is so fitting that we, the University for the Common Good, recognises his achievements in our own special way. Chancellor, it gives me the greatest of pleasure to ask you to confer on Daniel Schwartz the degree of Doctor of Business Administration for all of his common good works, honoris causa.
With the power vested in me by the Senate of Glasgow Caledonian University, I now have pleasure in conferring upon you, Daniel Schwartz, a Doctor of Business Administration honoris causa. Congratulations.
Thank you, Professor Miller, for your very kind words. Chancellor Lennox, Vice-Chancellor Professor Gillies, ladies and gentlemen, fellow graduates and guests. It's a great pleasure to be here back in Glasgow to receive this wonderful award from your university, the University of the Common Good. I feel particularly connected to this institution, not only from the kind mentorship that so many of your faculty members, especially Professor Gillies, has offered to me over the years. I'm humbled to stand here before the people that I believe are going to change the world for the better. I've had the pleasure of being connected with so many wonderful activities of this very university. And I'm proud to stand here before you, the university that launched the Grameen Caledonian College of Nursing in Bangladesh, a country to which I hold important ties. To the pioneering work of the university that you're carrying out at the Mary Robinson Center for Climate Justice, the commitment to sustainable business development as seen through the programs of Glasgow Caledonian New York College, where I had the pleasure of being involved in the early strategic planning. These and so many other bits of this university that I've personally experienced convince me that you have an outstanding reach on this planet for changing the world for the better. Internationally, at home here in Scotland, and in the rest of the United Kingdom. When I look at your bright, shining faces and the potential that I see behind your eyes, I think back on the time that I was sitting in a similar position, when I was being graduated from my first undergraduate degree, and I sort of thought about one, what type of positive change might I be able to make in the world when the problems are so huge? When I was worrying about having enough money or getting my first job or my next job, my first job out of college, weighing What type of job do I take so that I have the independence of knowing that I can earn more pennies than I need to spend a month, and the freedom that that will give me, while simultaneously not wanting to compromise my own values toward truly having little bits of that self-belief and that self-confidence that if I'm lucky and some other very wise people are kind enough to help me, I might be able to make a disproportionate difference in the world. But when I was sitting down at my graduation commencement ceremony, I wasn't sure how to do that, how to balance financial reality for myself with a tremendous desire to make the world a better place, and then the constant admonition of my parents and many elders of hubris is the wrong thing. Don't be so proud to think that you can accomplish the impossible. Take things one step at a time. That's something in which I failed because I really felt that working together with the right colleagues and friends, small groups of us can change the world. And I've had the pleasure of seeing that happen. Forgive me, please, if I say some things that might not be completely appropriate, or kick me off the stage or whatever. But what I realized is when I was graduating, when I was your age, first of all, the world felt very different than it does today. It never occurred to me at your age that I would be standing on a stage in front of such an esteemed audience, marshaling up enough self-confidence to thank my husband of 20 years for being the wind beneath my wings. It was inconceivable for me to be able to say that in a public setting when I was your age. I also realized that waiting for someone to become my mentor wasn't necessarily the way to maximize the odds of learning from some of the greatest minds in the world. So I decided to muster whatever self-confidence and self-belief I had to actively seek out the mentorship of people who I thought saw the world in a way differently than the way I see it. The people who felt most different from me, the people that I felt almost an inclination to flee because their worldview was so diametrically opposed to that which I grew up believing and understanding. And it's from those people that I aggressively, and sometimes in too pushy a way, sought out their mentorship. I started made a list when I graduated. Who are the 2 or 3 professors from whom I've learned the most, but realized it was only the tip of the iceberg? I made it a point to stay in touch, to follow up, to rudely show up at office hours when I was no longer paying tuition, but to try to develop those relationships. And I'm proud that some of those professors who many decades ago agreed to talk to this recently graduated young student are some of my closest friends today, and they've become major mentors in my life. They're not paid to do that. They care. When I think of one of these mentors, what could you hear during a commencement speech that 20, 30, 40 years from now would actually have been valuable? Well, I think we've had an example earlier today, and I'm very moved. If I can share a couple of tidbits that I've heard and I've culled from hundreds of graduation and commencement speeches that have actually helped in my life, one was from a person who subsequently became my friend and my mentor, Elie Wiesel. He was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize a number of decades ago. He had one of the worst childhoods I could possibly imagine, and he managed to lift himself like a phoenix out of the ashes. But he admonished me. He wasn't one of those easy, sweet mentors who showered me with praise. Every day, and I had the pleasure of spending most mornings with him, he would ask me, what did I do to make the world a better place yesterday? What am I going to do today? He pushed me and he encouraged me to think higher, feel deeper, and not stand idly by in the face of indifference. A fellow honoree of this fine institution, Eva Haller, escaped the Holocaust in Hungary, then escaped the Russian invasion, managed to survive, and she taught me a lesson I never thought I would actually be able to carry out. She taught me to be rude, to be pushy, to not accept no for an answer when you're fighting for the common good. It's okay if people find you annoying and overstepping of your bounds when you know in your heart that you're fighting for the common good. I thank her for teaching me that lesson. It was one that took a lot of kicking in the shins for me to actually feel comfortable adopting. And then I think of the third person, a woman I grew up calling Aunt Judy. Now she's probably better known as Judge Judy Scheinlin. But she told me when I was a little kid, and maybe I was stretching the truth with my parents a little bit to avoid getting chastised for something, she instilled in me the value of unrelenting honesty, not making even those little fibs that seem to make the moment a bit easier. And her way of explaining that to me, which I still remember as a little kid, was her telling me, "Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. You need to be honest in everything that you do." So if I have one little bit to add to this wisdom that my mentors were kind enough to share with me, it would be, in addition to the self-belief and the self-confidence and mustering it from wherever I was able to find it and wherever you were able to find it, it's balancing that with a well-calibrated moral compass. Every day, I feel the ends don't justify the means in my life. I was petrified because I didn't have enough money in the bank to pay my bills for the next week. And then I didn't have enough money in the bank to pay my bills for the next month. And I didn't have the money in the bank if I were unemployed for a year. The temptations to compromise, it's not the big, am I going to rob a bank? It's really easy for me to decide I'm not the right person and I have no desire to rob a bank. It's the little corrosive bits where your friends or your coworkers or your clients have pressured me, just bend a little bit. Don't worry about standing on that high horse, the moral compass. From my own life, the fact that I decided I'm really going to try to be the most ethical person I know how to be, never give in to that, there have been costs. But I feel that I have the self-esteem when I look myself in the mirror every morning and every night when I go to bed, that if I've done nothing else, I haven't compromised my values. I feel that I have self-esteem in terms of trying to be the most moral and ethical person I can be. When in doubt, speak to wise advisors. They've kept me out of tremendous trouble. But the combination of the self-belief with culturing and inculcating self-esteem every day has made me one of the luckiest and happiest people on the planet. As you go to explore your futures, call on any of us if we can be helpful, and I encourage you to have the combination of self-belief, moral compass, and self-esteem that will make the world in which we want to live, we want our children to live, and in which we want our grandchildren to live. Thank you very much.
Professor Anita Simmers, Dean of the School of Health and Life Sciences, will present graduands.
Chancellor, I present these graduates to receive the following awards. Doctor of Philosophy, Reem Thar Al-Mutari. Master of Science, Nur Ben-Zakik. Neo Barari Emina Williams. Pavlina Constanu. Nirika Okoro. Priya Adishni Thirumali. Angel Chioma Uzuru. Rita Lama Yonjan. Daiha Davis. Vinaya Maria John. Mithila Suresh. Sanchieta Roy Setu. Tevin Mwamponda Jando. Muhammad Mushin. Mudassar Rashid. Postgraduate Diploma, Grisham Chilalangria Shanti. Bensi Eldo. Bachelor of Science with Honours, Hannah Edith Boyd. Jenna Marion Carey. Jodie Ann Coogan. Karen Frances Donaldson. Tammy Jameson. Christina Macri. Caitlin Laura McCall. Kira Morrison. Rory Russell. Rika Alvin Sangera. Kate Marie Sloan. Amy Thompson. Amy Carol Walker. Alexandra Worthington. Lorna Begg. Ali Musawi. Alina Ali. Oh, Nasiba? Nasiba Nashir Alotek. Insha Aslam. Lucy Barton. Victoria Allison Campbell. Kieran Ken Wei Chung. Lauren Cole. Callum Crawford. Adna Dahir. Adideo Dansul. Bo Nana DeFrez. Holly Dean. Kirsty Evans. Natasha Farrell. Ewan Gallagher. Aisha Hussein. Ryan Johnson. Rachel Marianne Kyle. Justin Pak Hang Lam. Jonathan Lee. Peter McCallum. Robbie Stewart McGonigal. Ailey Ann Elizabeth McPherson, Saliha Rana, Christopher Small, Jeanette Stephen, Natalie Swanson, Alexander Winton, Danielle Bosner, Emily Caitlin Collins, Stefan David Corradini, Kira Kemachiva, Alexandros Lampro, Angeliki Maruli, Fiona Helen Robertson, Elena Thiaspra, Kirsty Elizabeth Jean Arbuckle, Loredana Herchiu, Shannon Kelly, Helen Marie Lakin, Audrey Mains, Alistair McKnight, Taylor Patterson, Chloe Jean Powell, Joanna Zabik, Catherine Campbell, Lucy Carroll, Heather Frances Dudley, Martina Hildebrandt, Granny Kenny, Veronica Kopek, Nicola Masur, Emma Morrison, Elaine Penman, Sarah Jane Rowan, Lisa Singh, Callum Losif Steele, Sinead Woods, Louis Bell, Alejandra del Carmen Diaz de Aguinaga, Williamine Frederic Couters, David McGuckin, Aidan McGuigan, Enusariman Obayangbon, Aisha Sabia, Scott Saunderson, Aisha Abdul Rahman, Zineb Adaw, Maria Ahmad, Kasim Ahmad, Luke Joseph Andrew, Aisha Anwar, Moshin Azizi Kalhori, Alison Barr, Ellie Bryce, Tess Bunyan, Eve French Cameron, Lindsay Cantley, Alberto Maria Cipriano, Gillian Crow, Rachel Lynn Cuthbert Henderson, Juwiria Din, Hannah Marina Enerson, Nicole Lynn Ellis, Saira Farouk, Louise Fleming, Rachel Louise Foster, Zara Halim, Kasim Hassan, Elva Yan Shi He, Anum Hussein, Bilal Abid Hussein, Sana Iqbal, Christine Joanna Jaffrey, Sarah Orouge Karim, Nicole Kears, Farah Khalid, Shoaib Khan, Toheed Khan, Rebecca Martin, Honor McCallum, Daniel Andrew McCusker, Hannah McDonald, Caitlin McGowan, Luke McGregor, Chiok Chen Neo, Jasdeep Nijar, Anil Kirit Rach, Jane Rayburn, Louisa Reevy, Sophie Christine Robinson, Holly Ross Botham, James Rowe, Sana Sadiki, Aisha Sajad, Hamza Ahmed Salim. Lisa Shankhill. Mehik Batul Ali Sheikh. Arani Sevasandra Raje. Maxwell John Snedden. Craig Gordon Tennant. Anna Elizabeth Thompson. Mariam Wasim. Sihar Zahid. Lydia Edwards. Andrew Fernie. Ailey Elizabeth Haggerty. Safa Khan. Kirsty Louise MacDonald. Camila Niazi. Zoe Russell. Hafsa Ahmed Abdullah. Michael Baran. Joanne Callaghan. Kyle Ken Singh Chung. Amber Fotheringham. Lewis Gilmartin. Kareem Gulwali. Elizabeth Hasty. Heather Shaw Jenkinson. Stephanie Paula Lawson. Ellie Logie. Eve Tierney Macaulay. Beth Kirsten McIntyre. Kirsty MacLeod. Cara McCluskey. Farah Penn. Emmanuel Pineshi. Adam Porter. Ewan Purdy. Andrew Rayburn. Robbie Scott. Bachelor of Science, David Christopher Weir. Chancellor, I present all other students listed in the order of proceedings in absentia.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor of Glasgow Caledonian University, Professor Pamela Gillies will deliver the closing address.
Chancellor, Vice-Chair of Court, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Vice-Principals and Pro-Vice-Chancellors, Members of Court and Senate, distinguished guests and colleagues, friends and families, and graduates. Woo! It's an enormous privilege for me to warmly welcome you all today to this great city of Glasgow and to Glasgow Caledonian University to join in celebrating our students' achievements. It feels especially good for us all to be together today following the long 2 years in which we've all had to endure the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm proud that all the students and staff of GCU were resilient and dedicated and worked together during lockdowns to ensure that the transformative education, the life-saving nursing and healthcare provided on the NHS COVID frontline, the infection control research we produced, and the support for businesses that we delivered, all of that could continue during the toughest of times. And I feel honoured to be the principal of such a fine and courageous university, a creative university which has bags of integrity, is confident with a strong sense of purpose, empathy and responsibility. These core values are central to our mission, and I'm proud to say that they are reflected in each and every one of you, our graduates. All of the staff at the university have supported you and believed in your academic ability, and I'd like you to join me now in giving them a warm round of applause to thank them. Thank you, staff. Now, during our ceremony today, everything has gone very smoothly. None of you tripped on the stage, fell down the wee stairs over there in those fabulous shoes, or horror of horrors, fainted with the excitement of the occasion. And yes, I've seen it all happen before, but thankfully no such difficulties today. And our graduation and support staff should be congratulated for the impressive way that they've handled the event. Thank you, graduation and support staff. Now, graduates, you all know that your family and friends have been amongst your strongest supporters during the past few years, and many have travelled from far and near to be here with you on this very special day. Like the university, they're just bursting with pride at your achievements. So, graduates, I'd like you to stand up this time to applaud and cheer and show your family and friends how much you appreciate them. A wee cheer for family and friends. Thank you. That was a fairly decent cheer. The quality of the educational experience, the warmth of our welcome, and the intellectual excellence and drive of Scottish universities is renowned the world over. And in this last academic year, Glasgow welcomed the world to COP26 on climate change. Our wonderful feminist, social justice campaigning, award-winning Chancellor Lennox led the university's contribution to the debate and the actions needed to respond to the climate emergency, an emergency that is the greatest existential threat to humanity and all living things on our planet. Our staff and students were deeply engaged in the event, especially through our Mary Robinson Centre for Climate Justice. And during COP26, the university also hosted the World Health Organization Conference on Health and Climate Justice. And we did this at our Platinum Eco Campus, underscoring our real commitment to sustainability. Graduates, as our thought leaders and activists for the common good and champions of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, I know each and every one of you is steadfastly committed to making your important difference to a more sustainable world. You're unafraid to speak truth to power, and you're also mindful of the value of cooperation and collaboration in our society. Working in partnership together and developing understanding across sovereign boundaries has never been more important at this point in our world's history, where war rages on many fronts, and in Europe and Ukraine today, and where the COVID pandemic still hovers on our global horizon. At our university, we shall continue to reach out to the world in the spirit of collaboration, learning from and sharing our experiences through our many international partnerships and promoting sustainability in our challenging, fractured world. During these last few difficult years, we continued to support and graduate our students from our African Leadership College partnership in Mauritius, creating a new generation of ethical leaders for Africa. We graduated our students from the National University of Science and Technology in Oman, where more than 60% of our engineering graduates are women. And of course, from Glasgow Caledonian New York College, where we are the first international university to have won official recognition and full accreditation for the quality of our degree programmes. And our London campus continues to thrive, growing year on year as it attracts creative and ambitious students from around the world. Coming second in the UK for our health impact research to the arguably much more famous King's College London in the recent Research Excellence Framework Assessment, we also demonstrate excellence in research, and we are in the top 70 universities in the world in the Times Higher Global Impact Rankings, which measures real-life outcomes in relation to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And as Anita pointed out, in this assessment, we were first in the UK and fourth in the whole world for our work on gender equality, and 21st in the world for our work to reduce inequalities in society. So through research, our university encourages curiosity, creativity and innovation, but it also helps drive forward the economy. Each year, our university contributes an astonishing £1.4 billion to the national economy and over 14,000 jobs, demonstrating a commitment to the economic regeneration of our city and region. And we also contribute to social inclusion and social mobility through our successful widening access work. For example, our student mentors are essential to the success of the university's award-winning Caledonian Club. Now, since 2008, this club has supported over 15,000 nursery, primary and secondary school children and 4,000 of their parents who regularly come into the university to learn new life skills. Now, I know you will share my pride in the fact that our university raises aspirations and creates opportunities for young and old alike, whatever their background or circumstances. And for over 12 years, as Daniel noted, our students and staff have eagerly volunteered to support the much-needed Grameen Caledonian College of Nursing in Dhaka, Bangladesh, which was opened by Her Royal Highness Princess Anne. The college, which was established in partnership with the Grameen Healthcare Trust, is run as a successful social business and is training nurses and midwives from the rural villages of Bangladesh to improve the health of the young and the most vulnerable, and to provide precious new opportunities for women through education. A passion for social justice lies at the heart of everything we do as we deliver for the common good. Our university is also a bastion of free thought, promoting cultural awareness and understanding. And you, graduates, are our champions of equality, diversity and inclusion across societies and nations. And I know you will not be daunted in this task, and that you'll use the knowledge and skills that you've gained here to make a positive difference in your communities and in the wider world. I'm also certain that as you carve up the path to a fulfilling future and shape a fairer, better society, you will remember and live the values we hold dear here, And you'll build on these to go from success to success, strength to strength, for yourselves, but also for others. And we will always be rooting for you, and we'll continue to reach out to you through your Alumni Association, because you've made many friends here that are going to last your lifetime, but also because your university will always be here for you if you need our help. And remember to be as ambitious and bold as your university. Aim high for yourselves. As one of the university's most famous honorary graduates, the late President Nelson Mandela, said, "There's no passion to be found in playing small, in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living." We look forward to seeing you seize the day, carpe diem, and we won't forget you, for you are our bright future. Our ceremony will now conclude with Scotland the Brave from Pipe Major Russell Meehan and Pipe Sergeant Emma Meehan-Spence, after which we will process from the hall. So take it away, Pipe Major and Pipe Sergeant.
Will you please rise for the academic recession?